Welcome back to Network Africa. Somalia's embassy in the United States will reopen later today in Washington, D.C. after 25 years. U.S. authorities have described the move as a sign of progress in Somalia after 25 years, after years of civil war. About 200 Somalis are living in the U.S., and the reopening of the embassy in Washington will be a good news for many of them. The relationship between Somalia and the U.S. government has been improving since August 2012, when the country ended the transition period and elected new leaders. In February this year, President Barack Obama nominated the first U.S. ambassador to Somalia since the Civil War. And 2 months later, John Kerry, as the U.S. Secretary of State, became the first Secretary of State to visit Mogadishu. The government of Senegal is planning to ban women from wearing the full-face Islamic veil in public in an attempt to curb jihadi activity. Well, the Interior Minister, Abdoulaye Daouda, said the move should not be seen as anti-Islamic. If the plan becomes law, Senegal will be the 5th African state to restrict the wearing of the full-face veil. Also, in another move to target militants, all unregistered SIM cards are to be deactivated by the end of November. Chad, Gabon, and Congo-Brazzaville have announced similar bans, while Cameroon introduced it in July. Well, here's the latest shocking revelation about the Egypt-Sinai crash. Investigators say the bomb that downed the Russian plane had been placed in the aircraft's main cabin, not in the cargo compartment, as reported earlier. The local newspaper that reported it was the Daily Commerçant, and it cited a source to the investigation that the epicenter of the explosion appeared to have been at the rear of the cabin, near the tail section. The newspaper also said the bomb could have been laid under the passenger seat by the window, and its operations had led to the destruction of the frame and depressurization of the cabin, which had an explosive character, basically saying it could have been that a suicide bomber was on board that plane. And that is Network Africa this hour. But before I let you go, I asked you a question yesterday. In fact, I asked you 2 questions. I said, what would you do as a mother if you realized your baby was swapped at birth 5 years later? I also asked, what are your thoughts on the Pretoria court ruling that says the swapped South African babies should not be returned to their biological parents? Listen to what you said. Cherry Patrick says, I think the court ruling is unfair. Those kids have a right to know their real parents, and so do the parents. John Mairafi Amadu said the South African court decision is fair for both children and parents. Your parents are those who took care of you. I would rather keep the baby I have raised than accept a biological child I do not know. Khalid A said, the SA court ruling would have considered the psychological effect it would have on the kids if their parents were changed. And if I was one of the mothers, I would sue the hospital for severe emotional damages and negligence of duty. Quite hurtful. Well, Ezek said, I will ignore court ruling, get in touch with the other mother, integrate the 2 families, and finally swap the kids back. Here's my question of the day. What are your thoughts on allowing your child to go live with someone else abroad? What are your thoughts on allowing your child to go live with someone else abroad? Please send your answers to networkafrica@channelstv.com or find me on Twitter @AdeshowaJosh and let me know what you think. That's Network Africa this hour. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Adeshowa Josh. I'll see you tomorrow.